Live from WTOC, the Southeast News leader. The News Now starts on WTOC Plus.
Welcome to The News on WTOC Plus. I'm digital anchor Jude Binkley. We begin on the crime watch as the Savannah Police Department has arrested a male juvenile in connection with the armed robbery of two food delivery drivers. Here's what we know. On February 11th, officials say investigators identified the suspect and took him into custody for an armed robbery that took place on February 7th on Albion Street. He was charged with hijacking a motor vehicle, aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm by person under 18. While in custody, the juvenile was also charged in connection with an armed robbery that happened on January 28th on Crescent Drive. In that case, he faces additional charges of armed robbery, aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm by a person under 18. The Savannah Police Department says this juvenile remains in custody at the Regional Youth Detention Center. Well, the Statesboro Police Department is asking for the public's help in identifying three people it says are persons of interest in an ongoing investigation. Take a look at your screen right now. Here are the three people of interest. Statesboro Police ask that anyone who can identify them to contact Detective Heron at 912-764-9911, or you can submit an anonymous tip through the Statesboro PD website and using the Submit a Tip link. Well, we have a WTOC update as two people were injured in an overnight shooting, according to Savannah Police. The SPD says officers arrived on the scene based on ShotSpotter alerts around 8:30 and began to canvass the area. While on scene, investigators were informed of two separate reports of victims arriving at the hospital with gunshot wounds. Police determined both wounded people were connected to the reported shooting. A residence in the area was also hit by gunfire. The investigation is ongoing. Anyone with info should call Crime Stoppers at 912-234-2020 or submit a tip through the Savannah Police mobile app. The South Carolina Highway Patrol confirms one person is dead after a wrong-way crash late Tuesday night in Beaufort County. South Carolina State Trooper says the collision happened around 11:15 on State Route 170 near Oldfield Way. According to reports, a 2019 Infiniti QX50 was driving in the wrong direction on the eastbound lane when it collided head-on with a Toyota sedan. The driver of the Toyota was killed on the scene. The driver of the Infiniti was injured and taken to a hospital in Savannah. Well, we have an update in the case of the man that crashed into a beloved Savannah teacher while speeding away from ICE agents. The man charged with vehicular homicide is Oscar Vasquez Lopez, and we haven't been able to locate any charges against Lopez in Georgia, South Carolina, or federal courts. And when we asked the Department of Homeland Security whether he had any prior criminal history, a spokesperson responded there is no additional information available right now. Since the crash and Lopez's arrest, the White House has branded Lopez the worst of the worst on social media, pointing to the vehicular homicide charge that stemmed from the crash. In DHS's official press release about the incident, it says Lopez was in the United States illegally, but mentions no other crimes committed. Local leaders have questioned the necessity of the chase that led to the crash that killed Dr. Linda Davis. Chatham County Chairman Chester Ellis says it didn't need to happen this way, and CCPD Chief Jeff Hadley called the crash likely preventable. Savannah Mayor Van Johnson asked in his weekly press conference on Tuesday, what is this individual wanted for, and did it necessitate the end result? And this is Justin to our newsroom. We've learned that the scheduled vigil for Dr. Linda Davis has been postponed. In a press release from the school, they said that it was to allow the organizers to have time to plan further and make sure that everyone who wants to attend the vigil has the right accommodations. It was originally scheduled today at Hess K-8, where she taught on Whitfield Avenue. Again, it has been since postponed. No word yet on when this new community vigil will be. We should also note that the Savannah-Chatham County School Board met last night, opening with some emotional tributes to her. Everyone also stood for a moment of silence. You can see that right now on your screen. The Department of Homeland Security again says she was hit by a man trying to drive away from ICE agents. Well, Memorial Health in Savannah issued a safety alert to staff about a woman posing as a nurse, attempting to get access to clinical areas at least twice. We have confirmed the hospital sent out a be on the lookout alert to staff. It's part of the hospital's security protocol. Now, the woman tried to access the maternity unit by telling staff it was her first day. She got into their emergency department last Friday by closely following another staff member through the door. The alert informed staff to call security if they see her again. Memorial representatives tell us they're thankful for their vigilant team members as their security continues to work on this, saying, quote, "We remain committed to maintaining a safe environment across our campus." And this isn't an isolated incident either. It's affected us here at WTOC. That same woman tried to get into our studio last Thursday. Now we're showing you that security footage right now. You can see her in our front lobby calling into our newsroom multiple times. She told our coworkers she was here for an interview. She gave conflicting information after someone answered our phones who she said she was here to meet. She was then ultimately walked out by our staff. Well, new gun laws are front and center for state lawmakers during this legislative session. A Senate bill passed last month would ban cities from requiring gun owners to lock their guns in cars. The bill is a response to an ordinance passed in Savannah. It required guns left in vehicles to be securely stored in a glove compartment, console, locked trunk, or behind the last upright seat of a vehicle without a trunk. The ordinance also mandated that unoccupied vehicles must be kept locked when there's a gun inside. Another bill making its way under the Gold Dome seeks to ban devices used to transform handguns into automatic weapons. People who support the so-called switch ban bill say it's a simple solution to the growing epidemic of gun violence in Georgia. People opposed to the bill say the problem isn't access to guns, it's mental health. According to everytownresearch.org, Georgia's gun laws are among the most lenient in the country. Georgia's ranked 44th out of all states. Well, in a matter of minutes, President Donald Trump is making his way to the Peach State. He's expected to land within the hour in Rome, Georgia. This is his first visit to Georgia of his second term. The president is set to speak on affordability and the economy, tour a steel facility, and visit local businesses in Rome. Today's trip comes as early voting is now underway in District 14 for a special election to replace former U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Leah Bowling reports on the main race the president is hoping Republicans win. Take a look.
If you're going to get your voice heard, you got to get out there and vote.
Our elected officials represent the people, their constituents, and that works best when as many people as possible participate in the process to select those officials.
Here's a look at the candidates. Trump has endorsed Republican Clay Fuller, but said there are many great options.
We have a lot of people that want to take Marjorie Taylor Greene's place, and many candidates, and I have to choose one. And they say whoever I endorse is going to win, but we have a lot of good candidates who want to take her place.
Cassandra Adams says no matter your political party, showing up is what matters.
You got to put the right people in office so they can hear your voice and vote for the ones that's going to support you, whether you're Democrat or Republican.
Jackson Autry says casting his ballot early was quick and easy.
I checked on my voter page to confirm the date and location that voting was open today. I walked in, I was in and out in 30 seconds.
He adds that early voting can help you avoid long lines on Election Day.
It's really easy to go on your lunch break or just whenever you have a few minutes, you can really get in and out fast.
If you lead a hectic life and you got kids and you're working, so if you can get out there and do it early, why not? Take advantage of it. If you're going to get your voice heard, you got to get out there and vote.
Well, in international news, British police have arrested the former Prince Andrew, King Charles's younger brother. Officers detained him on suspicion of misconduct in public office following the release of the latest Jeffrey Epstein documents. Tina Krause is outside Buckingham Palace with the latest, including a statement from King Charles.
Police guarded the entrance to the royal estate in Norfolk, England, where officers arrested former Prince Andrew this morning.
To see those police cars arriving at the Sandringham estate is quite a moment. This is the King's brother.
Police say they detained the younger brother of King Charles on suspicion of misconduct in public office. It follows calls for an investigation into documents allegedly indicating Andrew shared confidential government information with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein during his decade as a British trade envoy.
There's been a feeling that police forces could no longer not look at this very seriously, and I think it has been moving in one direction.
Now known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor after King Charles stripped him of his titles last year, he appeared in photographs on all fours over a female in the U.S. Justice Department's most recent release of Epstein files. He has always denied any wrongdoing in relation to the late disgraced financier.
I thought he'd go into hiding and get away with it. Yeah, so no, that's all I've got to say, really. I'm pleased.
King Charles responded to the arrest, writing in part, "Let me state clearly, the law must take its course. As this process continues, it would not be right for me to comment further on this matter." The King's press team confirms Buckingham Palace was not given advance notice of Thursday's arrest, which comes on Andrew's 66th birthday.
The lack of accountability that the privileged, the wealthy, royalty, aristocracy that they have enjoyed in the past, I think we can see is really receding.
Continuing his duties, the king appeared at the opening of Fashion Week just hours after his brother's arrest. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
Back here in the States, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg testified in a lawsuit that could affect hundreds of other cases by families who say their children have been harmed or even died because of social media. TikTok and Snapchat were also named in this lawsuit. However, they both settled out of court. Reed Binion has the latest on this trial.
Mark Zuckerberg walked in the front door of the Los Angeles Superior Courthouse Wednesday morning and walked out the back door that afternoon. In the intervening hours, the Meta CEO took the stand in a landmark trial. Zuckerberg testified before a jury for the first time ever about accusations that social media, including Instagram, is harmful to children's mental health. A 20-year-old woman identified only as Kaylee accuses Meta and YouTube of designing addictive features that hooked her as a small child, causing anxiety, depression, and body dysmorphia. Meta denies those allegations and says it's implemented numerous measures to safeguard young users. At the core of Zuckerberg's testimony were questions about what Meta knew about the potential risks to young people and whether it did enough to mitigate them. Before Wednesday's proceedings began, nearly a dozen parents who say their children were harmed gathered and joined hands outside the courthouse. After Zuckerberg's testimony, parents spoke to the press. Some expressed frustration.
I don't have any satisfaction. It's very similar to what happened in Congress 2 years ago when he swore under oath.
But there was also an acknowledgement of the importance of this moment in the landmark trial.
Today was the most important day for us to understand the truth of what happened and what was known.
I believe that there will be change.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Turning now to sports news, we're just 2 days out from NASCAR's triple header at Echo Park Speedway. Following last year's rebrand, Echo Park underwent a major fan experience facelift. Fans will notice new green branding throughout the facility, updated signage, refreshed concourses, and even a redesigned victory lane. You can listen to our Andrew Gordon's new Inside Lane podcast all about the upcoming triple header. That's live right now on WTOC.com. All right, this is a cute story. A Georgia 8th grader is giving drivers a new way to show off their patriotism. You can now get this commemorative license plate honoring America's 250th birthday. It was designed by middle schooler Eden Pethel from Jackson County. Her design features red stars representing 7 key Georgia Revolutionary War sites.
It's really exciting. I love history, so I love getting to learn about the past, and I love that I'll be able to teach other Georgians about this. I've seen a few now, but we like to make it a game and say, "Oh look, there's my tag."
The plate will be a standard option, meaning no additional cost, and it will be available until 2030. And finally, here on WTOC Plus, Live Oak Public Libraries will officially reopen the Carnegie Library as the Carnegie Library Heritage Center with a ribbon-cutting ceremony. It's taking place tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Originally opened in 1914 during segregation, the library was built with support from local African-American leaders and the Carnegie Corporation. It served as a vital resource and beacon of knowledge for Black Savannans. After extensive restoration, the space now becomes a special collections library dedicated to preserving that powerful legacy. You should expect a ceremony, convocation, and special performances by the Savannah State University Concert Choir. Again, that's tomorrow at 10:30. All right, with that, we're going to wrap things up here for the news on WTOC Plus. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. We'll be back in about 15 minutes for the First Alert Weather Show with Dave Turley. Also wanted to give you a programming note that on the secondary WTOC Plus stream, we will be carrying President Trump's arrival in Georgia, as well as he's expected to give some remarks at a local business a little closer to 2. But you can turn into the WTOC Plus breaking news and weather feed for that in just about 15 minutes as well at the bottom of the hour. Thanks for watching, and for the next 10-15 minutes, here's Local News Live.